All right, very good. Good afternoon, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. A few minutes late here. My apologies, technical challenges from your chair here. I think we're ready to go now. 12:03 by my count, and we heard the starting bell a few moments ago. Let's get started here first and foremost with the roll call. So, Katie, is that going to be you taking the roll call? All right, go ahead.
Chairman Bowie, Commissioner Eldridge, Commissioner Ellis,
Here.
Commissioner Thurston,
Here.
Commissioner Fletcher, Commissioner France,
Here.
Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Bernardo,
Here.
Commissioner Barra,
Here.
Commissioner Campbell, here, Director Peck, Director Lewis, City Attorney Carpenter.
All right, very good. So by my count, we have 10 commissioners now, and we have 7 present. So we have a quorum. We will proceed with official business here. Before we do, according to the agenda, and I'm glad it's on there, I appreciate that we have this now as a bullet point. Introduction of our newest commissioner. So Commissioner Campbell, welcome aboard. If you would tell us a little bit about yourself and why you like parks.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here at first. My name is Summer Campbell. I'm an activist by night and a hairstylist by day. I've been in the hair industry for 20 years, and about 8 years ago, I decided to really get involved in my community and in the city. I was the campaign manager for our now Pulaski County Clerk, Terry Hollingsworth, and that's probably my proudest accomplishment. But I'm excited to be here because I think this is an important time to be a part of the Parks and Recreation.
Very good. Thank you very much. We're glad to have you here. And your first meeting here, we're going to get into it right now. So first and foremost, and I've said that twice now, let me stop saying that. Let's get back into the agenda. Do we have any citizen communication here? Citizen communication this morning? Anybody online? No? All right, carry on then. Let's get into staff reports. So Director Couch, turning it over to you for staff reports, please.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you, Chairperson. Angela, if you would start with administration, please.
Okay, with the administration, of course, we're addressing administrative policies and HR related issues. We have filled quite a few positions this week. As you can see on the list, outdoor recreation coordinator, fitness specialist, construction and planning manager, who is here with us today, and I will let Justin Dorsey, our Deputy Director of Operations, introduce him. Filled a custodian position, parks maintenance worker, and golf superintendent. Also that we're advertising this week, or some may post next week, supervisor 1, park maintenance worker, community garden liaison, and some for operations, landscape coordinator, parks construction worker, and assistant marathon manager. I know sometimes these lists seem to appear that they're getting longer and longer, but we do try to promote within, and when we do that, that'll cause us to have to advertise for the other positions. So that'll cause some additional vacancies. We're continuing to interview for our parks marketing and social media coordinator. And I believe we just wrapped up our assistant tennis facility supervisor. Moving on, the director and I initiated pay increase for part-time staff. That was effective September 1st. We thought this was a good idea. We have 3 employees that are part-time that have been here over 30 to 35 years. So they were very excited to receive that increase. As you can see on the list, the breakdown, 15 years, increased to $15, and so on. And also we have an incentive now that once the employee reaches 10 years, they will increase to 13. In administration, we're also staying abreast of our goals is to improve our productivity and efficiency. We're continuing to monitor our general budget. PIT balances, of course, we're not in the red, so that's always good. Processing invoices, continue to follow through on closing POs. Reconciling, checking our revenue, make sure everything is accounted for and documented appropriately. We will continue finance audits. We continue to do this, try to do this on a monthly basis. We will begin some payroll audits as well. And we're also continuing to track and document parks inventory, which includes equipment and computers and as such. And that concludes my report.
I'm going to interrupt for just one second. First of all, thank you, Ms. Nelson, for that. I appreciate that. Obviously, your chairperson is a little off his game today and did not go through for the approval of the meeting minutes. My apologies. Let's backtrack just a little bit on our agenda. I do want to make sure that we get this covered off on. So you should have received a copy of the meeting minutes prior to this meeting. And if not, you've got a copy of the meeting minutes in your hand right now. Were there any changes, edits to the meeting minutes by the commissioners that need to be brought up now? Okay, then let's have a vote and approve the August meeting minutes. And motion to approve the August meeting minutes, please. So moved by Commissioner Brown. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Bernardo. Any further discussion amongst the commissioners on the August meeting minutes? All those in favor of approving the August meeting minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Meeting minutes are approved. August meeting minutes are approved. Again, my apologies for missing that on the agenda. I'm glad we were able to circle back on that. Thank you for that. Okay. Ms. Nelson, thank you for a report. Director Couch, let's see. Next up is.
Okay, next up is recreation. I did want to just add on the administration. I am excited. There are a lot of new hires that we're getting, and we'll go through that with some of them today. And but that's exciting as a director, as well as increasing our part-time staff. When I interviewed, or not interviewed, but had a discussion with one gentleman that had been here for 22 years and never received a raise. Because he had been a part-time staff member. I think this is a really big deal. So just want to reiterate that. So anyway, we'll move it over to recreation for Shawanda Craig. Thank you.
Good afternoon. And as Leland and Angela stated, I'm very, very excited about the outdoor recreation coordinator position. So if you guys have any ideas of programming that you would like for us to see, like for us to have, please share those ideas with me and my staff. Community centers are gearing up for our volleyball program. It'll start on September the 25th. Also, we'll have cheerleaders doing learning skills and drills. And so we'll utilize those cheerleaders for our football and basketball season. So we'll have them out in the community doing various things. At West Central Community Center, we had the Arkansas Travelers and the Memphis Grizzlies there on this past Saturday, the 9th. And they did clinics, baseball clinics with about, I think it was 70 students. And they got a chance to interact with some of the minor league players. A couple guys has the opportunity to go to the pros. So they got a chance to get T-shirts. They had Andes there with ice custard. And so the kids seemed to had a good time. They passed out tickets for the game on Saturday and for Sunday. So that was good to see all the kids and parents out for that. And also Memphis Grizzlies team were there they had cheerleaders there, and they had staff doing skills and drills in the gym. So they had about 20, 25 kids. But overall, we had about 160 people that signed up. So about 96 people attended the actual event. So we look forward to, this is actually the second year that we've done this event with Arkansas Travelers and the Memphis Grizzlies. So they will be in touch for next year. They're already excited about that, so we look forward to hearing from them. Southwest Community Center will have an ACT prep training beginning on Sunday, April the 24th, from 1:30 to 3:30. And they'll have about 15 participants. If you know any kids that need assistance, one-on-one, tutoring sessions to get help with ACT, please share this information with them. At the East Little Rock Community Center, we're starting a new program called the Trailblazers Bike Club. And this program will start tomorrow, September the 14th, from 4 to 5:30. And this is where they'll just be learning the basics of skills of riding the bike safety. They'll get the bikes. We had about, I think, 10 to 12 bikes delivered to us, so they don't have to bring a bike, but they could utilize those materials, equipment that we have there available. And this will be like a 7-week program. And once these students complete it, we hope that it encourages them to ride to school, ride in the community, and just understand and know the safeties of being on a bike and all of that. Our senior programs, they've been doing, actually, Baptist Health has been there doing outreach, monthly screenings at our locations, doing blood pressure, cholesterol, and diabetes services for them monthly. So they are taking advantage of that. And also, if you have not had a chance to go over and watch them at the West Central Community Center, they're doing a challenge game. Well, they've done a challenge game against Patrick Henry Hayes Center, the Benton Center, Maumelle Center, and Jacksonville Center. So they're very busy out doing that. And so also they do beanbag baseball games against the Jets, against Maumelle Senior Center, Hayes Center, Sherwood Center. And they're going next month to Greenbrier to compete against the seniors in Greenbrier for a beanbag baseball tournament. So like I said, they're very, very excited about it. I've had a couple to stop me and tell me, so Mike, I'm gonna have to get with you. They want some press on it, so they think everybody should know about their program in this particular game that they playing. They're really, really serious about it, but they do have fun every day playing. And also we had staff to go to the Elder Abuse Conference in Hot Springs, and this is where they teach you about the different scams and what is considered abuse and what to look for in our senior programs with our participants. If we have anyone that fits all of the criteria of abuse, they can understand and know what to look for, because that is happening all across America. Our therapeutic recreation adult program Branch Out is in full swing, and they're getting ready to start back with their volunteering services at the zoo each month. The Military Museum has a movie scheduled for September the 19th, Delay, Deny, Hope, and Die. Hope You Die. So it is a documentary related to the stories behind the thousands of American soldiers who returned from the battlefield of Iraq and Afghanistan with serious severe illnesses caused by exposure to burn pits. So if you're not busy, these movies are shown there every Tuesday, the third Tuesday of every month. And also they'll have another event in September the 16th. I think that's coming up, actually. It's off-site outreach at Tinker's Fest at the Museum of Discovery. In athletics at the Interstate Ball Field, the roads are under construction. I'm not sure if you guys have had a chance to go through there and see what's going on, but this is a much-needed project to get those roads repaired out there. So I'm very excited about this project. do. And last but not least, at the golf course, we have brand new golf carts at First Tee and Resman. So I'm very excited. I had a chance to go over and take a ride on those golf carts. So next year, when we have our golf tournament for the commission, you guys will get to see those. And don't wait till then, but go now and check out Resman and play golf. So thanks. That concludes my report.
Good. Thank you, Shawanda. Any questions for Ms. Craig?
I just had to add, or was going to add, the Canis Park Daytime League started its fall season. So we've got 40 permanent players and probably about 20 or so substitutes that play. Ages range from like 20s to 70s, all playing together. So it's kind of an interesting group.
Very good. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you, Shawanda. I just wanted to reiterate the golf carts. Can't say how exciting that is. I know there's a lot of golfers that have made a really big deal about that. And I know Beth's shaking her head down there. She was involved in that in terms of the lease. So we do lease the golf carts if everybody, it's a 4-year lease. So at the end of the 4 years, those golf carts are pretty worn out. And so that's where we get some negative feedback. And the other thing I wanted to reiterate was the Trailblazers, our trail coordinator, Jordan Mays, reached out and got that grant, which I'm really excited about. We do need some more participation, right? So if anybody knows anybody that would be interested in kids learning how to ride bikes and do all kinds of different skill trainings, that's an exciting program. We'll be focused more on that with our outdoor recreation coordinator as well. So a couple of recreation things that are so highlight.
To call out that Commissioner Fletcher has joined us online. Commissioner Fletcher, can you hear us okay? Yep. Okay, very good. So let the record reflect that Commissioner Fletcher is here. Go ahead and make some updates there. All right, thank you very much. All right, sir.
Okay, and so now I'll turn it over to Justin Dorsey. He's our Deputy Director of Operations for his report.
All right, thank you very much. Very excited in operations. We've got a lot going on, but probably the most exciting thing is our staffing levels and some of the new positions. One of those is here. We've got Chad Fushers here. He's our new planning and construction manager. Started just this week. He actually graduated, got a bachelor's degree from, sorry, I didn't do this, about Arkansas Tech in Parks and Rec, and has almost 20 years in with Arkansas State Parks. So we're very fortunate to have him and looking forward to that, and like for everybody to get a chance to meet him after. Be happy to introduce you and do that. We also hired James Short as our Park Planner 2 position. He started this month since the last meeting. Excited to have that position. And I guess really just overall, I'd like to thank Angela too and her work, because looking at this list, and I had notes, is with this final list that's supposed to advertise this week, the last few is the operations division. That is every single one of our positions will either have been filled, or we're currently interviewing, or is on this list to advertise this week. So that's very, very exciting news for us. So, it's hopefully we can get them on for, I don't want to jinx it before somebody falls off the backside, but we're really close, and it's very exciting time for us. On the maintenance side of things, with the dry and hot weather, we've kind of cycled out of mowing season a little bit, and the crews have kind of switched over to more limb removal, leaf, and just kind of general cleanup of parks. We're trying to get caught up on some of that kind of gets put on hold through the mowing season. It was a very difficult year this year for us, very wet, and just a lot of mowing and very difficult to keep up with. We also got a new piece of equipment, a parking lot street sweeper, that we were very excited to get that through FEMA. So that's going to be put in use here this week or next, as they go through the parks, are able to get in and kind of get these parking lots and get everything looking really, really nice for the fall season. We're excited about that. The Trails Division is overseeing a project right now. It's going on at Boyle Park, the mountain bike trail project there is underway. And so if you go by there, you'll see some construction work there, and that should be taking place over the next little bit. The downtown division and landscape have been working on rehabbing a lot of flower beds and just kind of some beautification of things. That's exciting. If you go down, actually this morning, I got some pictures. If you drive down President Clinton, they're actually digging out and planting trees, new ginkgo trees all on President Clinton, where a lot of the old tree wells have just been vacant and empty or just had stumps. So that's all taking place this morning. So that's really, really exciting to see. Talked about it last month, but if you want to just refresh your calendars, we have a pop-up meeting. It's actually tomorrow night, the 14th, at Kiwanis Park. We'll be there. We'd love to have anybody that could make it come and attend that. We'll have a community meeting, just a chance to interact with citizens, talking about some of the new upgrades and some of the bond funds that are going to be spent at Kiwanis. And we'll have some mock-ups of some of the possible neat new features that are going to be going on there. So excited about that and love to have y'all attend that. Some of our bigger construction projects that we have going on, the Riverfront Treehouse Boardwalk is still ongoing. That's set to pour concrete probably later this week on the piers. So if you get there and take a look at that, you will see progress on that. And then shortly after that, they'll be installing some of the uprights, and then we'll proceed on with the boardwalk portion of that. As Shawanda mentioned, Interstate Park is getting a new road, which is much needed and very exciting. And the testing has all been completed, and they should be, as of yesterday, the plan was to start actually asphalting today or possibly tomorrow on the western half. So through the remainder of this week and into early next week, that should be completed. And the western side of Interstate and the parking lot should have all new, nice asphalt, new roads, and it'll be really exciting. And then to move on to the second phase, which is they'll start on the eastern side of the park. So the goal is to try to maintain access from some direction so that the play could continue there at the park. So, and then in addition to that, along with the road, we're also looking, and we've got James, the new park planner, is putting together plans and proposals of using some additional funding that we have to look at some of the amenities that need addressed at Interstate, as far as bleachers and some structures there that we have, so that that park and that facility will be of more use to the teams and stuff that play there. We were able to complete the MacArthur Pond improvements. So if you go out there, it'll look a lot different. We were able to get that pond on the west side really cleaned out. We did some fountain work on the fountain spray head there. That's had some issues for quite some time. So we took the opportunity while the pond was down and while we were in there with the trackle and the equipment cleaning all that out, we were able to get a new head on that fountain and have all that. So we were really excited to turn that on. And when we turned it back on, the motor seized up. So that's the way it works. So that's in process of getting that repaired. But as soon as the motor's repaired, we're very excited for that area. Will look really, really nice, better than it's looked in a little bit. So the guys have worked really hard. I'm just really proud and excited about all the stuff that's going on in operation. So that's kind of the highlights, and we'll conclude if anybody has any questions.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Dorsey. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Dorsey? Yes, sir. Commissioner Bernardo.
On the pop-up meetings for Kiwanis and Pankey, are there handouts that you guys give out to the people that attend those? I'm not able to attend those, so if you had an information sheet on, I would be interested in getting a copy.
I don't specifically have like a set handout. There will be like flyers and like some
Okay.
poster things that are there to look at, but I can put something
You don't need
together
to put anything
for you or
together.
email, but
Just if you had something.
Okay.
That's fine. Thank you.
Any other questions? Questions online? I have a couple of easy ones, I think, just very quickly. On the Alsop North bike trails, you said that one's out to bid. Is there an expectation on when the bids should be arriving back in and then moving forward, generally speaking?
there are requirements on that, and I want to say it's 3 weeks on a RDOT project. So it will probably be 3 weeks to a month before we get those back and compiled.
Gotcha. And I'm looking through here to see if I maybe missed it. Forgive me if I did. There was a playground project at Borough Park.
Correct.
Any update that can be shared on that?
Yes, the playground at Boyle Park, the actual playground and equipment has all been ordered. That's already completed. The purchase order was done. That was ordered probably 2 months ago. Because with lead times, that's going to be probably close to summer, late spring or summer before that's in. And so now we're in the design phase. We're working with Austin Paul and DCI to get a site layout and a site plan, and working on coordinating that with the mountain bike project that's going on to actually get the layout done so that when the playground equipment gets here, we'll be ready to install.
So thinking summer of 24, is that right?
That's,
Yeah.
that's,
That's the plan anyway?
that's the plan.
Gotcha. Very good. And the last book that I saw was the War Memorial Boulders on the North Lawn. That is that's a good sign. I know that's a partnership with the Little Rock Garden Club and the City Parks Conservancy to make some changes there. The boulders are there. I don't think, what's the next step on that one?
There's still some landscaping that has to be done and a plaque that'll need to be installed. And some of the boulders, the horseshoe area there off Monroe is complete, but some of the other boulders still may have to be tweaked and moved around. We got rushed on that project with Razorback game, trying not to have a pile of rocks there. So we were just trying to get them in place. So there's still a little bit of placement that'll take place, and then we'll move into the landscaping phase and getting the thing in.
Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, Director Couch, anything else there?
Yeah, I'd like to just, sorry about that. So I'd like to add a few things. I just wanted to really appreciate staff on their work at War Memorial before the Razorback football game. I don't know if everybody understands that we did a lot of cleanup there in the park and raised the tree canopy and did a lot of cleanup to make it really look good for everybody that came and visited our city. And we worked with the state at the stadium on a lot of different projects for them as well. A couple other projects too that I'd like to reiterate is we did just finalize some new Musco sport lights at Dunbar Community Center on their tennis court facility. They get a lot of great use. I've seen a lot of great pictures out there as well. So that's exciting to have that. And that was replacing some very outdated equipment there. Another lighting project that I'm excited about is we worked with some other agencies on some ARPA funds, basically some COVID funds, and got some funds to Junior Deputy to replace their lights at their ball field. That will be starting this November or sooner. And then at the same time, we did get some funding as well for our Resmond tennis facility, which will be replacing all the lights there, which is, I hear, is making kind of some really big headlines in the tennis group there. So just a few big projects that I wanted to touch base on, but appreciate everybody's staff reports. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Couch. Yes, absolutely. Outstanding work by all staff. So thank you for all the reports provided today. It's a very exciting time to be with Parks and Recreation, from administrative to recreation to operations. You guys are doing an outstanding job. Appreciate all the work you're doing. Chad, welcome aboard. Thanks for being here. I know it's your first meeting. Look forward to see you maybe at future meetings. Appreciate all the experience you're going to bring to Parks and Recreation. Looking forward to having you on board.
Hey, Matt, I just got a quick question.
Yes. Question. Who was there?
This is Ben. You may have mentioned it, but any update on Canis, the basketball courts at Canis?
An update on the basketball courts at Canis Park.
I'll let Justin take that one. This is a good one.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, Canis is still a work in progress. They're continuing on with the rest of the project as a whole, but there was an issue that we're having with the contractor and a portion of that that was not done according to specs. And so we're currently waiting on proposals and trying to figure out how to correct that issue in a manner that's going to be acceptable and beneficial to the city. So we're just waiting on those proposals from the contractor on how they're going to address those issues before we can approve that project to move forward.
Thanks.
All right.
Is
Any
it
other
regarding
questions?
surfacing or is it something else?
Commissioners? Oh,
Not sure if you could hear me.
Cannon, go ahead, Cannon.
Yeah, can you guys hear me? Sorry.
We can go ahead and we'll see what we can do here. Go ahead.
Is it regarding the surfacing at Canis for the basketball, or is it something else? Because the concrete's been placed for quite a long time.
Yes, it's the issues with the concrete bleachers and the seating wall.
Gotcha. Okay. Let me know how I can help, or if there's anything I can do to brainstorm with you guys. I'd be happy to.
Thank you, Commissioner Fletcher. All right. Looking around the room, any final questions from our commissioners? No? Okay, perfect. All right, then, let's see here. Moving on to the next item on our agenda, we're going to skip past the golf tournament update today. Safety and security and parks, Director Couch, is there anything else we needed to touch on this month with that?
No, we've had our safety coordinator, Courtney Perry, provide some great detailed reports. And if there's ever any more reports that any of the commissioners would like to see, we can always bring him back in here. I would like to say that I have been working with the Little Rock Police Department on potential new cameras and new devices in some of our locations. The biggest challenge with that is the cost, obviously, but Little Rock PD has been working with people to try to get access to their cameras to be able to have bigger views across the city. One example is they have an access to our West Central Community Center camera systems, so they can actually tie into those and see the video if something was to happen there. So right now, we're working to try to increase that at all of our facilities. It's not a very easy process. You got to buy equipment. You have to make sure the existing cameras will function under that system, all kinds of different things. But I believe it's very necessary. And so those are just some of the things that we're continuing to work on as well.
Very good. Thank you, Director Couch. Also, under old businesses sales tax, I also note that that's listed under new business as well. Why don't we touch on that when it gets to new business there? So let's go next on the agenda to upcoming events. So Director Couch or staff, are there any upcoming events that we need to be aware of? Obviously at Kiwanis Park, Mr. Dorsey, you mentioned that a moment ago. Any others that you'd like to call out?
I just would like to let Mike Garrity here, who is part of our communication side of things, as well as our marathon and a few other roles as well. I really appreciate Mike, but if he could just give us a few updates on events for the group here.
Okay, in addition to the Kiwanis event on Thursday, on October 21st, we'll have our Creep and Crawl, which is an event the marathon puts on. We'll be out at Two Rivers Park, starts at 4 o'clock. It's a Saturday afternoon. At 4 o'clock, we'll have a half marathon, and at 4:30, we have a 5K. Generally, we have about 1,000 participants in that, so that's on the schedule. We're also going to be hosting a series of special events classes. It kind of focused on the security side of things. It's a free class. Anybody's welcome to take part. You put on any kind of events, and an event can be a meeting like this. So as small as this up to our marathon with 15,000 people. It lets you look at things from the security and safety side. They're free classes. They're going to start in October. They're 1 a month, October, November, December, that we're hosting here in Little Rock. And we're partnering with UCA up in Conway. They've hosted a series of these as well. So we kind of came together to try to get some attendance, better attendance at these classes. And they'll be hosting the classes in January, February, and April. It's a series. There's a group at the University of Southern Miss that puts this together, working with Homeland Security. So it's the real legit stuff. And it's been very beneficial to us on the marathon side, and we just wanted to share it with others that put on events around here.
Give us that date again, Mike, on that one.
The first one's in October. I believe it's the 10th and 11th. They're 2-day classes, completely free. The ones here in Little Rock will be hosted at our Emergency Operations Center, which is out at 7000 Murray, where the Fire Training Center is. And that'll be in October, November, December, and I can send all this information to all of you as well with there's a online registration link. One other thing that just happened actually yesterday, we got notice that I'm sorry, going back to a different email here real quick. The 9/11 Memorial Commission every year they select different cities around the country to send, they call them tree sapling or tree seedlings. It's a tree that was found in the rubble of Ground Zero that survived, and they nursed it back to health. So every year they send out seedlings from that tree to different cities in the country. And this year, Waukesha, Wisconsin, Uvalde, Texas, and Little Rock were selected to receive these seedlings. So we just got word of this yesterday. The idea is they send it to us, we plant it here somewhere. So we're still working out the details of where that's going to go here in Little Rock. But because it's based on resiliency and coming back after some kind of tragedy. And so because of the tornado on March 31st, Little Rock was selected. Uvalde, Texas, because of the elementary school, and then in Waukesha, Wisconsin, there had 6 people killed and 62 injured when an SUV went through a parade at Christmas time. So the 3 cities were selected. So we'll be receiving that at some point. We just got notice yesterday. So that's something that's coming down the road, and we'll have more information when we have that.
No, that's great information. Thanks, Mr. Gary, for that information that you shared. Are there any questions from any of our commissioners? Good stuff there. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that again. Let's see. Okay, moving on to the next item of the agenda. So we are back to the sales tax, obviously. We are all very familiar with that. The sales tax was deferred until next year by the mayor and the board of directors. So on hold for right now. We don't have our city directors here to provide us any additional context this month. I'm sure we'll have some in future months. Director Couch, was there anything that you'd like to mention on that this month? As it relates
Absolutely.
to the sales tax? Go for it.
Appreciate that. So just wanted to start off by saying I appreciate everybody that got involved. That being the commissioners that came out and participated in the community meetings. I really appreciate your support and involvement. The community meetings were a 2-week period and of almost every other night or every night. It was a lot of back and forth, and got a lot of public input, which was really great to hear. What I would love to be able to take this opportunity to do is to say, take the list of sales tax projects that we had for quality of life for parks and really continue the conversation among this group and have a deeper dive into the projects in terms of the value that the commissioners think of each project, as well as potential other projects that maybe didn't make the list, that maybe came up in the community meetings if you were involved in them, or even if you're not, if you think there's just other community or citizens that might have some interest in those. Because this is not going away, and from my understanding is the mayor and his executive administration are going to continue to try to figure out a way to do this. And so I would like to continue to go forward to the public and bring projects and bring, details for these projects. That's what I always heard was there's not enough details, there's not enough information. So I'm going to try to work on a lot of the projects. I don't really know what the mayor and others will decide to bring back to the citizens, but I would like to be more prepared now that I have some idea of a framework. And I think this group's involvement in that early on would be huge. So I would appreciate that continued feedback, and I'd like to continue to add it to the agenda. And I don't know the exact way to do that, and maybe that's a good question for the group, is if there's some input of like, do we go through it project by project or ward by ward, or but to get some good feedback on each project. And
Hey, Leland,
yes.
have you guys, and I'm sorry, I couldn't make any of the meetings, but are there do you guys have written out some of the feedback you've gotten from the citizens that we could look at and maybe begin with that and maybe give a commissioners maybe until next month to look at it and then kind of go and decide what we want to do? I would love to see something visual that we can read and study up on.
Right. That actually came up in one of the community meetings, and I was informed that somehow executive administration was keeping some form of that information. I didn't have any staff there that kept any records of any of the community. I definitely can give you, I could develop some feedback because it was kind of ongoing. I mean, repetitive in a situation. But I think an opportunity to get other input and other feedback is what I'm looking for as well.
Okay.
So, but I think it's a good question, and I'll try to look into that and see how I can get that to you.
Thanks.
Director Couch, thank you for that information. Absolutely, I do believe, and I hope that the commissioners that I see here today and online virtually as well, I think we're all going to be in support of continuing that conversation. We need to. Obviously, we can't let things linger, and we're not going to just sit around and rest on our laurels until November 24. So let's continue to have that conversation, and I think we should all be in favor of keeping it on the agenda. So let's do that. Okay. Moving on, before we talk about next month's commission meeting, just very quickly, I did want to give a quick word on the subcommittees. I know that one of our subcommittee chairs, Commissioner Smith, for the master plan is not here today, so we won't have an update from her. But Commissioner France, anything that you'd like to mention from the social media and outreach subcommittee? Ben, I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm really waiting for that social media coordinator to be hired. I've got some ideas. I don't want to start anything until he or she is hired. But Angela, I don't know if you're close to hiring someone. I know you said you're still interviewing, but I would love to meet with that person once they're hired and just kind of go through it. I've been kind of following other cities' part social media and email campaigns and just had some ideas. So I'm just kind of waiting for him or her to be hired. So.
Okay, sounds good. It may be a while before that happens, Ben, but we'll certainly keep in touch on that.
I'd like to step in there just so Ben, I'm sure he has a big question mark, like, why will that take so long? So just, we're in the process. So we've had several people that applied. We went through some video interviews, and we've completed those. Now we're setting up a secondary interview. You know, we're slowly narrowing down the process of doing the interviews. So not until those interviews are actually completed, then we'll actually go through the offering stage and all that and hire them and onboard them. And it will be a bit of a process. So, but anyway, just wanted to give you that information.
Okay. I just don't want y'all to feel like I'm dodging providing a report, but maybe I'll put together some information written down that we can share my ideas for that future person that's hired.
Sounds good. Thanks, Commissioner France. Appreciate that. Quick word on the Parks Conservancy. We did have an inaugural gathering for our initial Friends group back on August the 30th. We had a nice gathering. We had over almost 45 people show up and learn more about Parks Conservancy, which again is the nonprofit charitable arm for Little Rock Parks and Recreation. I'll tell you more about that a little bit later on as well, Commissioner Campbell. But just wanted to pass that on, that we're having some good feedback from outside entities. We're also looking with the Parks Conservancy to create some new programs that are going to be beneficial for citizens as well as our business and corporate communities as well. So watch that space for a little bit more information soon. Okay. Looking at our time here, 12:48, is that right? Yeah, so we've got just a few more minutes left. Let's talk about the commission meeting for next month. So, Director Couch, I know that you and staff are going to be out of town for our meeting next month, and you've got some ideas about that. So let's talk about that just very quickly about meeting for October.
Yeah, so I know that in the past, I reported after a change in the meeting that we would have never changed the meeting. And I'm not proposing that today, but it has come to light. We did get final approval. We are all going. There's a majority of us are going to Dallas to a National Parks and Recreation Conference. So I can handle the meeting from a WebEx. But I just wanted to open up the discussion for, what's the best way? And maybe Beth, you might want to give us some, if this has happened before, I don't know, or what are some recommendations?
Well, it seems like when Director Eckert was with the Parks Department, there were occasions where the meetings were actually just canceled. I'm good with that. I'm good with the director, yourself, being in Dallas on WebEx. The chair has to be here in person. So I'm sure there's not going to be a problem there. It's really up to the pleasure of the commission and the
Right.
department director
Okay.
about how you want to handle it.
So I would like to open that up to the commission.
Yeah, let's do that. So commissioners, you've heard for the next meeting, what you see at the bottom of your agenda, which is on Wednesday, October the 11th. If not all Parks and Recreation staff will be out of town, out of state, for a committee.
Let me just correct that for the public viewing. So we'll have staff here. We'll have staff that's going to manage the WebEx, and the group can still meet, and we can still you can still do this. It's just the executive administration of the Parks Department, Angel, myself, Justin, Shwanda, several others will be in attendance to the conference. So we could have some others here, but that's the difference.
Thank you for that clarification. Appreciate that. Okay, so commissioners, the question is, do we want to hold the meeting next month? Do we want to have the meeting on October the 11th as scheduled? And I suppose per counselor's recommendation, there is the option of canceling the meeting entirely. So let's open it up for some discussion. So commissioners, feedback on next month's meeting.
I'll just give some perspective. So from past lives, going to conferences and whatnot, it's always a shame to not get the value of the conference just by being interrupted with, meetings. So unless we have something really critical that we would need to have that meeting on that date, I would say let's either shift it or cancel it.
Let's do what?
Let's either move it to a different date or cancel it so
Okay.
that they can be free to enjoy the conference.
All right, thank you, sir. Let's see, I think Commissioner Fletcher, you're trying to weigh in.
Yeah, I'd say do a different date. If you're going to a conference, we want you guys to get the most out of the conference and not have to babysit back to us, just echoing the exact same comment.
Okay, thank you very much. Any commissioners, anybody else?
I agree with them.
Commissioner Bernardo postpone it.
Okay, so we're talking about, it sounds like maybe changing the date. Anybody else, commissioners? Okay, so if we're going to change the date, then Director Couch, would we perhaps maybe consider the following week? Would that be an option?
I'm hesitant on my comments because of previous discussions around this conversation. And
Well, let's do this. For the commissioners who are present today, the current meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, October the 11th. If we did push it out by 1 week, that would make it October the 18th. Do any of the commissioners have any objection to meeting in October on the 18th?
When do you get back from the conference?
We're gone the majority of that week. We're leaving, Angela knows, we're leaving on Monday and getting back on that Thursday. This one's unique. I'd like to add some more commentary since we're getting into the details. So typically it's a handful of us, if not even that many, that go to the national conference. The fact that it's in Dallas, I made a decision and a request to my manager if we could send more people this year because we are actually driving. Typically, there's a cost in airfare, which increases the cost dramatically. A lot of staff do not get the opportunity to go to the national conference, and I feel there's just it's a really great experience and a great learning opportunity. And so anyway, I'm giving you a little bit more, but it's just, this is really important for our department. And so, we'll be back on that Friday. So, I mean, we could easily do next week if that's it. I'm more than excited to be able to take a long lunch break on Wednesday and continue to do it on the same day. I want to let everybody know that that's out there. I totally leave it up to the commission. So, thank you.
Thank you, Director Couch. Let's see here. I'm seeing from Commissioner Fletcher. Thank you for your feedback. If we do move it to the 18th, it would be an opportunity to hear about the conference and perhaps dig into the tax proposal projects a little bit more. So that is certainly something that could be considered. So how about we do it like this? I'm hearing that the commissioners are up for postponing the meeting from the 11th to perhaps the 18th. Is there a commissioner who wants to make that official and make it a motion to do so?
I'll make a motion to move to the 18th. This has been France.
All right, motion by Commissioner France to move October's meeting from October the 11th to October the 18th, which is 1 week later. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ellis. Any final discussion on moving the October meeting from the 11th to the 18th? All right, commissioners, let's put it to a vote. All those in favor of moving the meeting from the 11th to the 18th, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We will move the meeting from, again, I know I'm over communicating, but from Wednesday, October the 11th to Wednesday, October the 18th. Location to be determined. Stay tuned for that. All right, moving on to the next item on the agenda is to talk about any new agenda items for the October meeting. Are there any commissioners? Are there any new agenda items that we need to add?
Question.
Commissioner?
Is there any provision for recreation resources for the elderly and disabled
Resources,
in the parks?
can you give us a little bit more context on that?
For availability for disabled to get out in the parks and do some walking or just enjoying the parks. And I don't see a lot of availability, and being both elderly and disabled, I was curious about that.
And are you referring to perhaps human resources, so like park staff being there, or?
Not staff being there, but just places to go sit or
I got that.
paved areas. that
Yeah.
you could walk.
Sure.
There are some people that probably would like to get out there in wheelchairs or walkers.
Mhm.
There's just a lot of, well, there's limited resources
Okay.
for the elderly and disabled.
Is that a question or is that more of an agenda item for next month?
I'd like it as an agenda item to discuss
Okay.
or.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. That's what I was gonna say. I mean, with the 2 minutes left. That question, right. That question is I could speak for a whole hour on that one question or all day. So, we'll bring in some specialized staff that are involved in that and, have some different ways to address your question. I think that's a great agenda item and I appreciate you bringing a new agenda item to the group. So thank you.
Agreed. Thank you very much, Commissioner Barr. Appreciate that. Any other agenda items from our commissioners? All right, very good. I would say, I would like to see the subcommittee reports, back on the agenda. That's something that needs to be there, on a regular basis. Yes, sir,
I
Director.
just want to confirm your question though, or what the actual question is for the new agenda. It's accessibility and ADA access to all of our facilities. Is that a good way to state it maybe?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And if there needs to be a subcommittee, I wouldn't mind
Okay.
serving on that too.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you very much. All right, I didn't hear and I don't see any additional comments, from those of our commissioners online. As we called out earlier, we don't have any of our city directors with us today, so there is no board liaison feedback. Okay, let's wrap this up. So time and place of next meeting, we obviously have talked about that enough. Wednesday, October the 18th. It will be held at noon, as it always is. Location to be determined. Please stay tuned for more information on that. And it is now 1 o'clock, so meeting adjourned. Thanks everyone for being here. Appreciate you. And thanks for accommodating the location change. Thanks, everybody.